Hello everyone, my name is Nidasha Zulumtijalan and I am going to be speaking to you today about online frauds in banks with phishing. To begin, online banking is important in our life right now. It is designed mainly to ease two parties, which are the banks and the consumers. With online banking, the consumers are not required to go to a bank branch to make their basic banking transaction. However, nowadays it has more issues regarding the security of online banking due to the increase in the number of online banking crime. One of the popular banking crime is phishing. It sounds like a fish, right? But do you know what phishing is? Before I proceed into it, I would like to share a short video about phishing. Here we go.
Phishing is a method of trying to gather personal information using deceptive emails and websites. The goal of phishing is to trick an email recipient into believing that the message is something they want or need, a request from their bank, for instance, or a note from someone in their company, and to click a link or download an attachment. Fish is pronounced just like it's spelled, which is to say like the word fish. The analogy is of an angler throwing a baited hook out there, the phishing email, and hoping you bite. What really distinguishes phishing is that attackers masquerade as a trusted entity of some kind, often a real or plausibly real person or a company the victim might do business with. It might be your boss, your bank, or a company whose software you use.
To summarize from a video, phishing, also called brand spoofing, is a widely known as online banking fraud where phishers use for identity theft by send out spam email to a random database to trick the recipient until the recipient disclose their personal information such as name, password, and bank account information. In simple words, phishing scams is where the criminals send spam emails to their victims to steal the details of the victims. In order for the phishing scammer to successfully phish the consumer's personal information, the consumers must redirect to a website which looks like a legitimate internet banking site, but it is not. So, this is the example of phishing email that the victim will receive. In this example of phishing, we can see that the scammer make the victim to act quickly by stated that the victim have usage limits on their bank account and the victim need to follow the instruction to click the link below in order to confirm their financial details. So, in this case, it confirmed that it is one of the phishing attacks. Globally, about 30,000 phishing attacks are directed at financial institutions since 2003. According to the Casper Sky Anti-Phishing, the most targeted phishing sectors during first quarter 2019 are banks 25.78%, global internet portals 19.82%, payment systems 17.33%, social networks 9.07%, and online sectors 8.73%. According to the article, some of the banks in Malaysia such as HSBC, Citibank, Standard Chartered, and UOB have been hit by the phishing scams on 2004. It shows that banks are the main target by the phishing scammer as banks have a lot of information about the consumers. While for the countries, the most targeted by phishing attacks worldwide during first quarter 2020 are Venezuela, Portugal, Tunisia, and France. Now, let me proceed how to recognize a phishing email. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly is the message uses subdomains, misspelled URLs, or otherwise suspicious URLs. Fake website URLs are designed to look and sound authentic. For example, the phishing site's URL may contain misspelled words like my bank instead of Maybank. This is maybe the most dangerous type of phishing because some people are not paying close attention into these attacks, and it is sometimes confusing the consumers. Next, The recipient uses a Gmail or other public email address rather than a corporate email address. Nowadays, everything happens on Gmail or other public email address, including phishing attacks. An email attack is presenting the victims with content as an incentive to click through to a suspicious URL. For example, the emails are short and likely somewhat relevant to victims' life in order to attract the attention of the recipient quite easily and make them act quickly without thinking. After the link in the email is clicked, the attack works and the victim already revealed their privacy information to the criminal. Furthermore, the message includes a request to verify personal information such as financial details or a password. In this case, sometimes the victim gets any message claiming that they have won a voucher or a prize from the criminal. It is most likely a phishing attack. If the victim not correctly checking the legitimacy of message, it is sure that the victim will respond towards the message. Lastly, the message is poorly written and has spelling and grammatical errors. Many phishing attacks are not very well planned and the message may contain spelling and grammar mistakes rather than the official message from any financial institutions. For example, if grammatical errors have repeated many times in email that ask for the personal information, it might have become the target of a phishing scammer. The growth of technology have given cyber criminals the opportunity to expand their criminal attacks through various channels. Here are 4 phishing techniques to be aware of. Firstly, spear phishing attacks method. In this method, phishing scammer attacks to large amounts of victims in hopes that a small percentage will be successful. The phishing scammer will act to the victim as their friends, employer, what they have recently bought online, and locations they frequent. During these typical phishing attacks, phishing scammer will send fraudulent emails to the victim in order the victims sharing their privacy information such as usernames, passwords, and financial details for malicious purposes. Furthermore, whaling attacks method. This method involves the use of spam emails bearing falsified corporate identification like trademarks, logos, and corporate names that are targeting to a high-level executives. This technique commonly used for the CEO or similarly important person within the company. Whaling attacks emails are quite hard to detect because they are so targeted to the important person. In this method, executives are more likely to get the attacks by the phishing scammer rather than other employees. Moreover, farming method. Farming method is an attack where the phishing scammer send the victim fake websites to steal their personal info. In this method, the phishing scammer sends emails that they are from some of the most popular websites. It is not like the whaling method because they are not necessary to target individuals one by one. The obvious phishing tactic is they misuse browser functionality by injecting hostile content into another site's window that can lead to receive the user's privacy information. Lastly, voice phishing method. This method is the use of fraudulent phone calls to trick people into giving money or revealing personal information immediately. It is a new name for an old problem which is telephone scams. Voice phishing usually from the phishing scammer that pretending to represent as a trusted institution, company or government agency. The victim may be asked to buy an extended warranty, offered a free vacation or asked to donate to charity. Phishing scams have been around practically since the formation of the internet and they will not go away anytime soon. Fortunately, there are few steps the online banking user can take to protect himself against phishing. Firstly, do not trust any phone calls, SMS, email, web, and chat that request for the personal details and identity. Phishing has become popular in the past few years and is done via a phone call. The online banking user need to be alert, like install protective features on the phone and computer. This will help detect a transaction that they have not made. Besides, never click on a URL link in an email or fill out forms in email message and untrusted websites. If the online banking user want to try out new sites, make sure they need to check the domain name. Ensure the URL has HTTPS, not just HTTP. They can also look at the log icon and check the site spelling. In addition, the online banking user can go directly to the bank's website to access internet banking and manually key in the company's website address in the browser's URL bar. This is very important because the phishing scammer can create the website same as other banks' website. For example, the spoof website can same as the website of Maybank to you. The attacks can change the word from Maybank to you to My Bank to you. Thus, the users need to be careful before click the website and make sure the website is original website. Lastly, keep up to date with the latest security patches. Update the operating system and internet browser with the latest patches. If the online banking user want to update the security, they need to make sure all security and critical patches are applied. This protection prevents from access into malicious files by blocking the phishing scammer. The function of antivirus software is it scans every file which comes through the internet to the computer. Thus, it helps to prevent damage to the user's system. In my opinion, a high level of the initiative must be made to educate internet users on how to classify, identify and prevent phishing scammer, like the financial institutions offering conventional securities awareness content to the consumers, as phishing not only impacts the security but it also impacts the culture and economy. The initiative should be able to minimize the negative effects on the customers that might suffer as a result of phishing, and it can regain the trust of users in innovative banking channel. Activities of a typical internet user that they always access on internet, such as checking email, trading online stock, conducting banking transaction, and even surfing website, may provide huge opportunities for an identity theft by the phishing scammer. Unfortunately, many victims end up reveal their personal information to this phishing scammer, that resulting in financial and emotional losses. Thus, the consumers should checking first the email that's sent by the financial institutions and credit card companies before they proceed into it. Based on the article, phishing is the major criminal that decreases the trust of users of online banking transactions due to the virus technique that used by phishing scammers on unsuspecting users. The internet user should know a problem that exists from the phishing attacks in order to fighting back. Careless internet accessing can easily lead them to phishing attacks. The user can avoid these attacks by using several methods that have been mentioned before. Overall, phishing is real and dangerous. Everyone needs to watch out for it because it can happen to everybody. It can be costly when getting scammed. There are many issues and security risks that are associated with such types of phishing attacks. Hence, it is important that the proper security measures need to be implemented in order to decrease the effects of such attacks. So, I am going to end this speech with quotes by Richard Clark. He stated that if you spend more on coffee than on IT security, you will be hacked. What's more, you deserve to be hacked. Thus, it comes from ourselves to protect against phishing. Thank you for lending me your ear to know the information about phishing. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum.